Yo, we in this fight for truth. But remember that even truth can be subjective. Because it can be seen from various different perspectives. But even if truth is subjective, honesty is not. So when motherfuckers lie to you, don't question just what the truth is behind they lie, but question why they would choose to lie to you. What do they gain out of misinforming you? Remember that a thief and a liar play different roles in your life. A thief takes physical property from you. A liar steals your reality from you. And that's something very difficult to get back. And that's what we've had stolen from us. And where places we go, they start to blame things on people that show up. They say, oh man, it's all the black people in the hood selling drugs, all these immigrants that bring drugs into the community. The majority of cocaine come from Colombia, Peru, Bolivia. But who supplies the military and the paramilitary of Peru and Colombia? Oh, that's right, that would be the CIA and the military-industrial complex here in America. Over 90% of the heroin that's brought in here to this country come from where? Come from Afghanistan, another vassal state to this motherfucker. So the next time they point the finger at you and talk about who's bringing drugs into this motherfucker.
Ustedes trabajando. Sigue trabajando, carajo. Oye, Luis, ¿cuándo van a terminar? Ahorita, por lo que se apuran los burros. Ahorita viene el camión. Place apura. Place the high. Ahorita van a venir para recoger los productos. Point the pen, get up here. Apúrate. I'm on the border of Bolivia, working for pay, treated like a slave. The coca fields have to be ready. The spirit of my people is starving, broken and sweaty, dreaming about revolution, looking at my machete. But the workload is too heavy to rise up at all. And if I ran away, I know they probably worried about mom. So I pray it has to finish. So when I go to the mission, process the cocaine base and play my position. I throw work in the hood, it's back and day, that's what's really good. Supply works in the hood. Fucking crap for the beat up. Doing out like we inferior, petrified. We meet in my area. I do some shooting till I say so. You got the loot, give me the yay like ice cube. Don't play with my yay, yo. We won't stop for you bastards. Please stand the shop in the basket. Yo, when we say Peruvian, y'all say go. Peruvian, go. Peruvian, go. When we say Peruvian, y'all say go. Peruvian, go. Peruvian, go. Peruvian, go. Peruvian, go. Peruvian, go! Peruvian, go! Yeah, that's what's up. Make some fucking noise. I know. Sound system can be a bit of a clusterfuck, you know, but not mad at that because we're getting our point across. We've seen a lot of things. I think M1 from Dead Prey is going to be here in a little while. Make some noise for him. Seen a movie tonight by Alex Jones. Make some noise for Alex Jones traveling out here. That's what's up. There's lots of people in the struggle from all different dimensions in this country and even outside of this country that we can link up with from different places that are talking about what the fuck is really going on in this country and what's really going on outside this country to not just change this country, but to change the face of the world and to change how we perceive ourselves as human beings. If you remember that race was created in order to justify slavery, in order to justify taking a piece of land and taking a piece of property. And that's what we became to them. We became property. Because if America had had the balls to say, look, we came to Africa, we wanted your labor and we have the power to do it. Then after slavery was over, racism would have subsided with that. But it was the scientific excuses that they made for it, the eugenics, the junk racial science they used to say, well, these people are less for a certain reason. They are subhuman and inferior to us. And while race may have been created to do that to indigenous people on this side of the world and the Africans, because they wanted to do that to them in order to take away all of their economic power, remember that one day the different forms of race will truly exist because of the way scientists are genetically tampering with human beings. One day you'll be able to get certain changes to your genes made. And one day rich people will be able to afford to say, well, I'm not like the rest of you. I don't get cancer like you motherfuckers. Fuck you. You know what? I don't get AIDS like the rest of you motherfuckers. I went to a doctor when I was 2 years old. I had that fixed. Fuck you. Oh, it's getting hotter? That's not my problem. That's your problem. And who the fuck you think's gonna be left out in the cold? People who can't afford that type of shit. And who can't afford clean air. Yep. Remember that, motherfucker. So before I get out of here, I'm gonna drop one more joint and I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. Drop that joint. Thank you. Hey yo, yeah. Trust me, there was bass in the original track. There was also drums. I don't know where they went. Yeah, they say the odds against me are crooked and impossible. Like I was born with a hole in my heart. It's an obstacle. I left to die by the doctors in a children's hospital. But I never lose hope. Success is psychological. The world is volatile and the street is my education. Shaping a nation like the blueprint of a mason. I Shawshank record deals get you raped on occasion. So I focus for my economic situation. I'm like the middle king on TV and dig through the trash. I hustle regardless of the way you talk, shit and laugh. A lot of niggas drop science, but they don't know the math. Cause their mind is narrower than the righteous path. It's funny how on the block niggas will kill you for cash, but never raise the gun to cry out freedom at last. The Cold War is over, but the world is still getting colder. Atlas walking through the projects with the hood on my shoulders. I would like to train my children to grow to be soldiers, but then a general would decide when their life would be over. So I work hard until my personality splits like the Black Panthers into the Bloods and the Crips. They said I'd never be shit, but now I sit and reminisce like Yeshua, Ben Yosef, flipping through Genesis. Ignorance is venomous and it murders the soul, spreading like a virus, running rampant out of control. So if I should ever fall and get caught in the hustle, let them know that I died while I fought in the struggle. From the hood rats to rich kids lost in the bubble, spray painted on the streets and in the subway tunnels. Write it down and remember that we never gave in. The mind of a child is where the revolution begins. So if the solution has never been to look in yourself, how is it that you expect to find it anywhere else? Immortal technique in the streets, back on a hustle. There's 3 strikes to get you life. The stuffing cracks in a duffel. Upstate behind steel gates, attacked in a scuffle. Razor blade stuck on the saddle, pencils hacked in your muscle. But the ignorance is what bleeds you to death when it cuts you. And it's your lawyers, not the inmates, scheming to fuck you. Trying to fight the system from inside eventually corrupts you. But that's what you get when you put a corporation above you. And it's the people that love you that seem to hurt you the most. Sometimes when they die, you find yourself cursing their ghost. But you make success, nobody delivers your fate. Sometimes you give and you take. Since prehistoric vertebrates crawled out of the lakes. And that's the truth about life. More to do with the ghetto than your car rims and your ice. Cause even though we survived through the struggle that made us, we still look at ourselves through the eyes of people that hate us. But I'ma make it regardless of the trumped up charges and semi-automatic garages that empty the cartridge. Post-traumatically scar kids that try to be brave. Cause niggas backstab each other just to try to get paid. Turn cannibals like knights during the crusades. Afraid of responsibility, addicted to greed. Beating a girl, purposely losing the seed. As if we bound to the destiny we used to receive. So if I should ever fall and get caught in the hustle, let them know that I died while I fought in the struggle. From the hood rats to rich kids lost in the bubble. Spray painted in the streets and in the subway tunnels. Write it down and remember that we never gave in. The mind of a child is where the revolution begins. So if the solution has never been to look in yourself, how is it that you expect to find it anywhere else? 9/11 Truth Movement, make some motherfucking noise. Shout out to all my peoples here. DJ Kiao Joe, VP1, my brother Poison Pen. Support that album, motherfuckers. Got Revolutionary Volume 1 and 2, Mark of the East, 22. Underworld Volume 3. 20. Thank you very much for all your support. And I will be one of the first rappers in history, and I was the first to say, I don't give a fuck if you burn my music off the internet. Music's supposed to be free. As a matter of fact, I think you're a pussy if you don't go home tonight and steal my motherfucking music, right? Just don't be a coward about it. Don't steal my music and go get high in your mother's basement and listen to that shit. You bump that shit in front of 5-0, bump that shit in front of your racist, fucked up neighbors. We appreciate that. Immortal technique. I love y'all, New York. We out of here. South Pole, Cedar Kiss. Bam, smoke a lot. Holla, nigga. J-Dog, I see you. Better with.